Nurse, anything that Becky Weaver wants, you give her. I'll take care of it.
I'm taking care of Becky.
Sure you are. But I want to help. She's a very special girl.
You've already helped enough.
Oh, she's sleeping now. I just left her.
She's been through a lot.
I can see that. Emotionally as well as physically. She blames herself for the miscarriage, you know.
Yeah, well, she'll get over it, even though she's right.
You blame her, too?
I'm not blaming anybody, but she didn't obey the doctor's orders.
Might have happened anyway, Russ.
Yeah, well, I've thought of that, too.
Women don't get over these things easily, Russ. Becky is going to need your understanding and your comfort.
Just like you gave my mother?
You just can't see the present for looking at the past.
Look, I know what Becky needs, and I don't need any words of wisdom from you, okay?
I hope you know what she needs. Have you called your mother?
Why should I?
Because she is your mother. And she's Becky's mother-in-law and the baby's grandmother. She'll be hurt if you don't call her.
Yeah, well, she sure won't be hurt if I do. She never cared about the baby.
Did she say that?
Hey, actions speak louder than words.
She has a right to know, Russ.
Then you tell her, Vince.
Russ, make the call.
Oh, you bet, Dad.
Come on in, Mitch.
How'd you know it was Mitch?
Well, because you're always at least 5 minutes early. Have a seat.
Well, now, I do appreciate you giving me some time during your noon recess, but I hate to intrude.
Well, it sounded urgent.
Yes, ma'am. I'll get right to the point. I need your help in finding a missing person.
Let me guess. That Lawson woman has skipped town with all the furniture in her mother's house.
Well, now, I wouldn't put it past her, but no, this is a different case.
Excuse me, Counselor.
In this case, the missing person is a client of mine. Formerly, a very wealthy lady.
Former meaning formerly wealthy or formerly a lady?
Well, my client is definitely a lady. And I'm concerned about her well-being. You see, recently her husband swindled her out of most of her money. Oh, she's got a considerable sum left from her deceased father's estate, some stocks and bonds and real estate investments. But...
Sounds like marital problems. Maybe she doesn't want to be found, Mitch.
Well, now, normally I'd agree with that, but in this case, you see, when she found out that what her husband had done, she came to me to change her will, excluding him entirely. I haven't seen hide nor hair ever since then.
And how long has that been?
3-4 weeks.
Oh. It doesn't sound urgent. Her disappearance is probably by choice, Mitch.
No, I just can't imagine her going away without saying anything to somebody. You know, Helen Carpenter is a very responsible lady.
Carpenter?
Yes, Mrs. Charles Carpenter, the Hollister Mall Carpenter. You probably read about that fire. Well, now, that property was deeded to him by Helen. The rest he stole.
Careful with the criminal accusations, Mitch.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Yes, I have heard the name with reference to several matters recently.
And now, you see, their daughter Miriam, who lived with them, told me that her mother just up and disappeared one day without any cause whatsoever about 3 weeks ago.
And no one's heard from her since?
That's what bothers me. Oh, not the fact that she would leave. I can understand that well enough, but the fact that she wouldn't come to me about that will first. Oh, there's something very wrong here. I can just feel it in my bones.
Oh, it sounds mysterious, but things like this happen every day. A person who's never done anything like this before in their life just walks away.
But what if something happened to her? I mean, I owe her something as her attorney, as her friend, to see that she's at least well.
And the family isn't alarmed?
They could care less. And when the police were brought in on this, I called them. They said I didn't have enough information. You know. Beth, you're my only hope. You've got to help me.
I'll see what I can do. Maybe Chief Peck can put a man on it.
Thank you.
Tomorrow.
Nancy, that was delicious. You're a good cook.
Thank you.
You know, it's ironic. I never thought I'd be grateful to Scott Davidson for anything.
What's that?
Well, because of him, you got this beautiful home. But that doesn't mean that I wasn't sorry about your mother.
I know what you mean. That's all right.
Yeah, I find it fascinating that you're related to this Davidson bunch.
Do you find me fascinating?
Well, of course. You know I do.
I'm so glad you could come to lunch, Charles. Can you stay long?
Oh, not long enough. And oh, I should be leaving now.
Oh, Charles, please stay.
I could use a drink.
That's not a bad idea. You should drink more.
You sure you don't want to come over to the office and play secretary for me this afternoon?
No, thank you. No work for me for a while. In fact, I'm contemplating taking an extended vacation.
Oh?
Recommended by my attorney. You know, I can't believe that Miriam. I mean, you give her this great job, and she doesn't even want to work for you.
Yes, I'm afraid it is beginning to wear a little thin.
And then the way she keeps that quaint little gingerbread house of yours. It's just disgusting.
Sometimes I think her mother was right about her.
Do you expect your wife to come back soon?
Doesn't matter. We're through.
Oh, I'm glad. If you know what I mean.
Yes, I know. But, how are we going to get to know one another better if you take a long vacation?
Well, you could always come with me.
I've noticed. Not only do we have separate bedrooms, but we occupy different houses.
I'm flattered. You've missed me.
I didn't. The maid mentioned it. What's the matter, George? You're getting older. Don't you have the energy to drag yourself home after a romantic evening out? Not even for appearances.
You greatly underestimate me, Beth.
I'm just judging from appearances. And past experience, of course.
I've heard no complaints from my public.
How is your campaign going nowadays?
Well, it's been a long haul, Beth, but we're both finally nearing our aspirations. Me a congressman, you a judge on the Supreme Court, and we did it together.
You've got to be kidding. I've worked my fingers to the bone to get where I am today, and no thanks to you. And I've done it the hard, honest way.
You seem to have forgotten who put poor, very poor you through law school, not to mention the fact that I gave you my valuable family name, which, by the way, helped you get your appointment as judge.
And you've forgotten what I've put up with all these years. For those so-called privileges. The inconsiderations, the humiliations. I've earned everything I have.
When you marry for money, you pay the price. Now I remember why we don't talk very much. It always ends up in an argument.
Why are you here, George?
I need a favor.
You know I don't do favors, especially for you.
Well, this one could benefit both of us. It's not serious, but we need to avoid a little extra publicity for the family name.
I don't like it already.
You're handling the Lawson versus Davidson case, and one of our savings and loans may be implicated. I've heard that accusations are forthcoming that charges the savings and loan with allowing illegal tampering of a safety deposit box.
Stop right there, George. If you're asking me to break the law, don't. As a matter of fact, I think you better leave.
You'll regret this. My request was reasonable.
Remember, George, I can always cancel your vote.
pleasant surprise. I've been thinking about you all day.
Really? Yeah, well, me too. What have you been up to?
Just the usual. I heard your father flew there this morning.
Yeah, you two aren't talking much anymore, huh?
As you've told me enough times, that's our business.
Well, I did see dear old Dad this morning.
Something wrong, Russ? Has Vince said something to upset you?
No, just as usual, fatherly advice.
And he's always telling me to leave you two alone. Is it Becky? She's left you, hasn't she, Russ?
No, Mom, I hate to disappoint you, but Becky and I are closer than ever.
I'm not in the mood for a guessing game, Russ. Is this a social call or is something wrong?
Mom, Becky's in the hospital. She lost the baby.
She lost the baby? How convenient.
What's that supposed to mean?
It should be obvious.
Well, maybe I'm just a little slow.
Becky got pregnant to get you to marry her. A baby would just be in the way.
Becky wanted that baby, and so did I. But I guess I just can't expect you to understand that, can I?
I understand perfectly. I just wish you could. You know what this means, Russ. Now you don't have to feel obligated to her. You could be free of her. Leave, get an annulment.
I don't believe you. You don't even care, do you?
Becky doesn't love you, Russ. She just wants some security while she runs around with that band, playing in those seedy little places, having men paw all over her.
Mom, Becky is not like that.
But that band had something to do with her losing the baby, didn't it, Russ? Of course, we couldn't be sure the baby was yours anyway.
Mom, why do you say things like that? You're sick. You're really sick. Becky's just fine, Mom. But I'm not.
Becky? I thought you might be sleeping.
No such luck. No peace for the guilty.
Don't even think like that.
Oh, Laura. It's so easy for you to say, you know? Laura, why couldn't I just do what Dr. Greeley said? If I'd just done what he said, I would still have my baby and Russ.
Don't punish yourself, Becky.
Laura, you don't know what it's like to lose someone like that. Just, you think what might have been and... I'm sorry. I forgot.
Dad and Grandma. Yeah, I know, Becky. All too well. But life goes on. I'm learning that more each day with the Lord's help.
Yeah, with God's help. Well, I guess God's punishing me, huh? I guess I deserve it.
Listen to me, Becky. God loves you. Do you think Dad and Grandma died because God was punishing them? Or us?
Oh, no, Laura, your family was so good.
Oh, we're no better than anybody else. We're not perfect, Becky. You know that. God knows it. But he still loves us. And he lets these things happen for a reason.
Why? Don't you just ever ask him why?
All the time. And you know what I hear him tell me in my heart? Trust me. Live for me. Live, Becky. Life goes on. That's God's plan.
Laura, I've made so many stupid stupid mistakes.
Becky, even when we try as hard as we can, okay, we don't always do what's right. And that's where the Lord's forgiveness comes in.
How do I forgive myself?
Time. Understanding. We can't undo what we've done. All we can do is learn from it. Tomorrow's a new day, Becky. A new beginning. You'll see.
Well, it's your choice. Tomorrow might be too late, though. Yeah, I know. It's something you gotta live with. Look, I gotta go. Somebody just came barging into my office. Yeah, bye.
Webster, we got problems.
Look, Charles, you gotta relax. You're just a bundle of nerves
And
lately.
for good reason, too. What with that arson investigator breathing down our necks?
That overweight smoke detector isn't gonna find anything to incriminate us. We got alibis. Our friend Sparky's phone out of town. You might even say we burned all our bridges.
Well, some of our investors think that we burned them, too. You know, this fire was supposed to pave the way for more investors, not drive away potential ones.
What do you mean?
Two very upset major investors called me this morning with detailed questions about the arson investigation.
You think they suspect that you burned down your own building? I sure hope you set their mind at ease.
Well, I certainly tried to, but apparently it wasn't enough because they want to have a very urgent meeting tomorrow.
Ah, that's no problem. It's normal for them to be concerned. Hey, what you got to do is unconcern them.
Well, I certainly am glad you're so confident.
I'm talking to Slaymaker tomorrow morning. The commissioner will see to it that our snoopy friend is satisfied, and, well, that ought to take care of our investors.
Miriam, come here.
Oh, Daddy, hi. You're home early.
I told you to clean this mess up.
Dad, I was going to, just
You do it now before you knock yourself out with that dope.
Daddy, it's not dope. I just have a headache.
Oh, is that the excuse you gave yourself this morning for not showing up at the office? And if you take any more of that stuff, you won't be able to find your own head. Oh, Miriam, you disappoint me.
Daddy, I'll be at the office tomorrow. And wait. Look what I got for you. A new tie for your brown suit.
Oh, fine. That's just exactly what I need, a new tie. Do you know what I need? I need you working at the office. Do you realize that we may lose two major investors because you weren't there to answer the phone?
Daddy, I will be there.
Look at this place. You're not even capable of finding a maid.
Okay. Look, I'm going to clean it up right now. And I really couldn't help it that June Winkle wouldn't come and help it. After Mother left, she wouldn't, and she wouldn't even recommend anybody.
If I can build a shopping mall, you certainly can find a maid.
I will, Daddy, I will.
I was even ashamed to bring Nancy over here the other evening.
Nancy? Is that it? Is that why you want me to clean up this dump just so you can entertain Nancy here? There's no way I won't do it! You just go ahead and get Nancy to clean it herself.
It's not Nancy's responsibility to clean the house, it's yours!
Daddy, now look at this now! She's turned you against me!
You leave her out of this!
Daddy, she's nothing but a gold digger that specializes in old men!
How dare you!
Go ahead! Hit me! Nancy would just love it! I hate Nancy! I hate
Come in. Phil, how'd you... Phil, I can explain.
Francis already has. I'm sorry, Becky.
Sorry? Thought you'd be mad at me.
You should be mad at me for for pressuring you into rehearsing when you should have been staying in bed, and why didn't you tell me?
For the obvious reasons.
Oh, these are for you.
Beautiful.
Forgive me
For what?
for acting like a jerk, an inconsiderate jerk.
Yeah, you were, weren't you? Yeah, I can forgive you if you can forgive me for not being upfront with you.
Shall we kiss and make up?
How about a handshake?
It's a deal. Now I understand why you wouldn't leave Russ.
Phil, I do love Russ.
Okay. So when do they let you out of this place?
If I'm a good girl, I could go home tomorrow.
Well, you sure? You look pale. You sure that's not too soon?
I feel like I've been run over by a truck, but Doc says I'm fine. Hey, well, what about the New York trip?
I postponed it.
Well, what did Dave say? Did you have
All
to tell
he
him that?
knows is that you're sick and we'll have to reschedule later. He was a little disappointed, but then he told me to tell you to get well.
You think the delay's gonna hurt our chances?
We'll get there.
Yeah, wouldn't go without me, would you?
Hey, come on now. You just told me you were gonna forgive me for acting like a jerk.
Yeah, well, don't let it happen again.
You knew I was bluffing.
No, I didn't. But next time I will.
Hey, there better not be a next time.
Well, isn't this sweet?